Bites.
Everyone run!
All right. Party people in the place to be, vandals and whatever else might be lurking out there in the darkness. This is Buzz Bites, brought to you by Pink Buzz. And man, we're all just really pumped for tonight's show. It's going to be a lot of fun. Goose, what are we talking about, man? Let the folks know
We're
the good news.
talking about Attack the Motherfucking Block, one of the best movies. I just recently saw it, but if you haven't seen it, you need to. Best movie of the last decade. One of the best movies of the last decade. Hands down, Attack the Block. Let's do this.
All right. Joey, man, how are you feeling about this episode? Because it was one of your ideas.
Yeah, I saw this quite a while back, and I love this movie. It's I can't say anything bad about it. It's such a joy to watch. It's fun. Man, it makes me think of the old 80s movies, like a Jim Henson's type of jam, but more hip hop oriented, you know? More urban.
Yeah, it's bare good, fam. I mean, like, it's so awesome.
Proper
Directed
good.
by a guy I'm not quite too familiar with out of the UK scene, Tom Cornish. But man, did he knock this thing out of the park. It's a very well shot, superbly acted, and like Joey said, the animatronics, or not animatronics, but the gags, the actual real life effects that they used for the aliens, so nice, man, because they're actual practical effects, plus the designs. Oh, dude, they're just so cool. I mean, they're simple. They're kind of just like these woolly gorilla-looking things with glowy teeth, but man, they're effective. And I don't think I've ever seen another alien like them. Have you guys?
No, it was a great design. I loved it. It's kind of a monster / alien film, which is a great combination. It's freaking rad.
Goose, what'd you think about the aliens, bruv? Or probs? I think you're muted, guy.
Man, I thought that the monster design was intense. No, can you hear me now? Am I there?
Yeah.
Oh. Can y'all hear me?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, fuck. Yeah. I thought I was muted for a second. I knew I wasn't muted. Anyway, no.
I think you have a lag, yeah,
I think
dude.
there's a lag.
Hang up and come back in, man. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
I actually looked into the effects. All of it was done practical, but they touched a lot of it up with computer effects, actually. The director thought they looked too cuddly. So the texture of the fur, they spiked it out. You know how it's got that like spikiness?
Yeah.
To the fur. Well, that was touched up in computers, and when they open their mouths, all the teeth on the inside, like the rings of teeth on the inside, were all added digitally.
Okay. Well, it's really smooth. You can't really tell.
It's cool. Like I didn't realize they did that. I kind of looked into it a little more, and I saw that after that. That's what they did.
Because, when I was watching, there's one that I could kind of see was a digital effect, and that was when Hi-Hat's face is getting eaten off. Like, you can kind of see that was touched up digitally, but all the alien stuff, man, it looked clean.
But like, even with his face coming off, it still had that 80s vibe to it, you know, when the face is getting ripped off and stuff. It still had kind of that gory. It almost looked like prosthetics, you know. They kept to the they kept the theme going pretty good with the practical effects. I thought even when they used computer effects, they tried to make it look like practical effects, which was great.
Goose, what did you think about the aliens, man?
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, you're fine.
Oh, perfect. Well, my first thought when we finally got to see the aliens in full after they finally killed one and they're touching it, there was these scientists a couple of years back that created a color that was darker than black, and it was like the black is black, and like it absorbed light like all around it, and that's kind of how I thought about these creatures, were that they were more than just black. They were dark. And even one of the guys mentions it. He's like, oh, hey, he's darker than my cousin, whatever he says. And I thought that line was funny, but I thought the monsters themselves, as simple as they were super, super effective on how they came across. I think when I came back in, y'all were kind of talking about the campiness of the face getting ripped off, and like I can only put that in the same category as like some of the deaths from Friday the 13th 3D, the third one, like where you're getting those practical effects, like when he threw the machete and it follows it into the guy. But like the effects I thought were great, and the way that they presented these monsters were just fantastic. The blue teeth, that was something that just, because when they first see him they go, oh, that's eyes, and he goes, well, I don't think that's eyes, and you see the mouth open up, and I jumped out of my fucking seat. It was so great.
Yeah, the first
they were gnarly, man. They were super gnarly. Yes.
And it's great because they're black, right? So in the dark you don't see anything till they scream at you, then you get those glowing teeth, right? It's such a good concept.
I thought the way that they did that was great, and how they showed the monsters movement. They could have used practical effects as much as shadows to have shown the monsters, because as long as they're not baring their teeth, they really just are a black mass, like a shadow. And so when you'd see them like slumping down, or when he said, hey, look on top of the tower, and on the little swing set thing you see the alien up there, and it just like slumps down, and when they're in the dark like that, you get these weird movements that make them look like they're gliding, or that they're moving in some peculiar way, that they definitely use the darkness to their advantage in those shots. And I thought that was really, really neat.
That's something
built
they
a
touched
level
up
of suspense with me for sure.
In post, for the black of the aliens, in post they made sure that they touched up the darkness on the fur to make sure it was always the blackest thing in each shot. They want to make sure nothing else in each shot was more black than the aliens. So in post production, they went and made sure that it was always the blackest part of every scene those aliens were in.
Well, you can tell, because like I said, when you're just seeing the silhouettes and the shadows, or not, I keep on saying shadows, but when you see the silhouettes of them and they're moving, like even in pitch black, like when they look across the building and they see the two up on top of the building right before the cops are attacked, they really did such a good job in the sense that there was blackness and darkness in the scene, but you could definitely tell like how dark they were. It helped show their movements, and I thought it was great.
And they worked mostly as silhouettes because there was no light reflection off their fur or anything. They're always a black mass with no light or any shadow or highlights off the fur. So, the only details that you saw from them were their teeth. Everything else was like a shadowy silhouette at all times, which was pretty cool. Even when they go and they put their hand and touch it, you don't see their hand, just kind of disappears when they put it into the fur. It's pretty cool.
Giant gorilla wolf motherfuckers. I love the way that kid said that.
Hey, Zod. The aliens. You say it again. What is coming after us? Big hairy gorilla wolf monster thing.
Getting a little bit into the synopsis of this film, it starts off kind of bleak, kind of brutal. You're following this young nurse home, and she is being stalked by this gang of ne'er-do-wells, and they jack her, they terrify her, and they take her stuff and ride off in cheer and applause. And then you cut to like the scene with them, and you see that some of them are actually kind of really nerdy, goofy kids. They're just shaped by this horrible place that they live in. But as you kind of continue, it happens really fast afterwards that the first alien hits a car next to him, and it attacks the leader, Moses, played by John Boyega, and it tears his face up a little bit. So he's pissed, and he's like, all right, we're going to track that thing down. We're going to kill it. The kids ride up to the park, and they make the most foolish mistake ever by killing this first alien. which but we wouldn't have a film if this didn't happen. And they're all celebratory. They think they're hard mid now and stuff. So they go party, they go show the girls, they go show their drug dealer. Meanwhile, John Boyega's character Moses, he's getting moved up into the gang, and he doesn't ever say anything. It's just with his facial expressions. This kid is such a good actor. He got ripped off so hard when they made him a clown in Star Wars, because this kid can act his ass off. Moses is a character that is ashamed of what he's becoming. He is being forced to become a more violent, more evil person because of where he lives, and it's the only way to come up. And he is resentful of it, while at the same time accepting that I have to do this. Otherwise, I don't have anything. And then they end up, the lady that they robbed called the cops on him, and they get arrested when more aliens have landed, and they're different. This first one that they killed, it's small, it's white, it's kind of goofy looking. These ones, like we said, they're pitch black, they're huge, they got these massive neon teeth, and they just tear the shit out of these cops. And basically, Moses and the girl that he robbed have to escape with each other. And Goose, you want to take over the synopsis from there? Kind of get to the kind of funnier part with Nick Frost and stuff? Explain that to the folks.
So there's a big pot room, and I know this a little bit from the time that I was over there, but it's an island, and so you're gonna have to grow your own pot there. It's harder to export it than anything, and if you're growing your own pot there, you're gonna need it to be safe. And so they decide to take their little puppet alien, to their friend, which is played by Nick Frost. Do we remember his name? Because I'm drawing a blank.
It was like Bog or Bob or something like that.
I thought it was Tom's.
Something like that.
Yeah, he's got a pretty typical name. I forget what it was.
Yeah. And so they decide to take the alien there, which is where we get to meet some of our. At the park we meet the two characters from mine and Johnny's namesake as well. You got Probs and Mayhem, but we meet some of the more interesting characters, in particular Hi-Hat, who is really stepping his shit up and starting to get into the rap game. He's taking over the drug game, and oh, dude, I fucking love it.
The soundtrack is great.
No, so he's trying to get in. Talib Kweli did a lot of the songs on the soundtrack. I didn't mean to cut off from that, but I like that guy a lot. He's half a Black Star with Mos Def. But so they get there, meets Hi-Hats, like Johnny said, is initiating Moses, stepping him up, telling him, you still running this for him? Well, why don't you get some grown man balls and sell some coke for me? Hands him the coke, tells him, hey, you owe me $300, bring it back here, I don't fuck around, this is my block. So they drop the alien off, and they leave it there after Hi-Hat's partner calls it a puppet. You got mad skills with the puppets, bro.
Oh shit, he's a puppet. Yeah, straight up.
and so we move from there, and we descend into madness. And what ends up happening is they look out the window and they see more of these aliens fucking dropping, and they know shit is getting real. And this is where the story really picks up, and they all go and get strapped up. Now here in America, that means going and actually getting your strap. But there's gun laws and stuff like that. So you've got the one kid grabbing Pest is getting his baseball bat ready. You've got homie with the samurai sword. Moses goes and grabs a bat, or not a bat. He grabs, I don't remember what Moses grabbed. I think he had a machete. No, the other guy had the machete, but they grab their weapons, they hop on their bikes, and we get some of the cooler scenes, I think, with them traveling around on the bikes, going to, fuck these things up. And that's kind of when we get to see the real aliens. And of course, the woman who snitched on them, she's with the police. They track them down, and that leads us to our first big confrontation. And from there, the story just gets crazier and crazier. I don't want to go into it too much and spoil it for those who haven't seen it, the uninitiated, like I was earlier this week. But it just turns into a fantastic hunt and chase type movie, where the roles get reversed several times, leading to this climactic battle with fireworks and gasoline. Well, I guess it'd be natural gas at that point. And man, I'm telling you, it's one of those things that you just got to see. Gets a 10 out of 10 for me.
Joe.
Yeah, it was really good. It was really good. I mean, this movie, there was a lot of actors, a lot of people in this movie that went on to do some pretty good stuff. You got John Boyega, who's obviously, like you said, Star Wars. He was also in this, I think, the sequel to Pacific Rim. You got Jodie Whittaker. The first time I saw her was this movie, and then I watched Broadchurch, and now she is actually the new Doctor Who. So that's those are some pretty big props. There's another actor here which I didn't know that I thought I knew was Luke Treadaway, and I thought this is the dude from Mr. Mercedes and Penny Dreadful, but it isn't. It's his twin brother. The one I thought it was Harry.
He wasn't.
No,
Dr.
he's got a twin brother, man. This is his twin brother.
I thought it was Frankenstein from Penny Dreadful too. Damn. Okay.
No, man. It's that's his twin brother. This is Luke. The one that was in Penny Dreadful his name is Harry. I thought so too, and I was going down to see what else he did, and I'm like, fuck, he doesn't have it. Mr. Mercedes isn't there. Penny Dreadful isn't there. Well, obviously because it's his fucking brother, which I found out when I went and started looking into it. And obviously you have Nick Frost, who plays Ron. And you got Joe Cornish, who is the writer-director of this movie. He also wrote and directed The Kid Who Would Be King. He also wrote the story and the screenplay for the first Ant-Man movie. And he also wrote the screenplay for Tay-Tay. So this guy's got a pretty good resume as well.
Yeah.
Ant-Man's
my second favorite MCU movie. So hell yeah, he's got some good Bonfitas under his belt.
Yeah.
I did not. I recognized that the Luke fella, and I couldn't really pinpoint where. But now that you're saying from Penny Dreadful, that definitely makes sense. Although it is twin, all of the scenes with Bruce, his character, were some of my favorites in the entire film. Well,
the elevator.
I think you should get the next one. The elevator.
Next one, yeah. I think you should get the next one, yeah.
Yeah.
Or when he goes to try and give dap to the dude and they all just fucking laugh at him. Or when you find out that the alien that initially crashed down landed on his father's fucking Volvo. And I thought that was a good little thing, because you hear him talking about, oh, I've got to get to my dad's car, and then it's just fucking smashed.
Yeah, I mean,
he's such a good character.
All the performances in this were great. Like, I loved them all. It was so good.
That little South Park kid, the second in charge, the white kid. What was his character's name? He was probably my favorite, man. When he's all high and he's like trying to hit on the nurse lady, and
you're pretty tight.
That had me rolling, dude, because she is really cute. But
anybody got some skins?
You got a boyfriend? Yeah.
Well, is it too good to be helping the kids here in England?
Yeah. What? No skin tanning for him.
Fucking, what'd you say?
Oh, that's what he says. What? Can't help the kids in England. What? No skin tanning for him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well,
their boyfriends in Africa.
I thought that was a real pivotal scene because we actually got to see some of Moses's emotions when he tells her, if I'd have known you were from the block, we wouldn't have rolled you. And she's like, that, so if I wasn't from here, and then past his life, he's trying to apologize. Like, I really thought that showed kind of the depth of Moses's character, especially because she starts showing concern for him when she gets down to his flat and realizes that, oh my God, this is just a fucking kid. And what a badass
no
kid,
parents being taken care of by his uncle, who doesn't really give a shit about him, and then she starts to see she probably lived a much more privileged life than he did, so she kind of is able to put herself in his shoes for a few seconds and realize a few things. Yeah, it was a good moment.
But yeah, Boyega's
big fan of
really
that.
got some really good, strong scenes. I'd say one of the first ones that really showed like the confliction of his character is when they got the dead alien and they're showing it to the girls, and the one main one that he likes is kind of ripping on him, and you can just tell that he's just like, dude, I'm just trying here. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what like, but he never says anything about it. You know, his character only mentions his plight very sparingly at the very end of the film, and the rest is just portrayed with John Boyega's great facial features and emotions, and it makes me kind of sad that like American films haven't treated him right, because I think he would be really, really good dramatic actor. Like I told Goose before the show, he reminds me a lot of a very young Denzel Washington. And I think that he could probably play those same kind of roles Denzel does without any kind of problems. So he really impressed me in this
Give us a
film, and
Man
I've been a
on
fan
Fire
since.
3.
Yeah, Man on Fire prequel. Yeah, dude, about how Creasy Bear became so badass. Like, I'd watch that. I love Man on Fire.
Yeah, the best Punisher movie ever
That's a
made.
badass movie.
Well, back to this, man. All the kids were good, though. I like the one that was always trying to be too tough, with the ninja sword. They wanted revenge for his dog, all in all. This is for Bogo. Yeah, dude, that kid had me rolling his whole scene. And like, man, his death scene was brutal. That's another thing about this movie is like some of these kids get butchered. It's pretty hardcore when it happens too. Like the chubby kid when they're trying to get the hi-hats is flat and his head gets squished. I'm just like, whoa, dude, that's like a 15-year-old character. Like that's pretty badass.
I think that was why the deaths in the movie kind of carried weight, because they, you had Hi-Hat's, what was Hi-Hat's partner's name? The guy who got his face ripped off.
Yeah.
Was it guy? It wasn't Tempo, was it? Well, when he died, like I really didn't give a shit. Same with when the cops like got it, because they were just, they're kind of being dicks. I don't like them. But when we started getting some of the main characters killed off, there was who was it? It was Jerome that had the dog that got his head crushed in the motorcycle helmet, and like that one really shocked me because and like you said, like you're looking at them as teenagers, and even though in the first scene they do the whole rob, like the stick and move thing, you really just kind of feel bad knowing that their lives got cut short. Like it held weight in the film. They used the deaths really, really well, especially the deaths of the main protagonists.
Well, and one of my favorite things that showed how young they were in the earliest part of the film is when they get back to the block and Probs and Mayhem come up and they're talking to them, and you realize that the kids that the movie are about are not much older than these 8-year-olds that are trying to hang out with them. And at some point, those guys actually probably played together just a year ago. You know what I mean? When they were a little bit more innocent. But yeah, dude, like I loved the whole point out of like, because that's how it kind of is. I don't know, but I listen to some drill rap and a lot of UK type stuff. I'm a fan of it, and yeah, it's a lot like what happens over here in the councils, the housing projects, and I think that the movie nailed it because it has this great social message on top of being a really, really strong sci-fi horror film, while being a comedy as well, because there are some severely really funny scenes in it with the kids, with actually Nick Frost, who is like you think should be the funniest guy in the movie, actually has few funny parts than anybody else in the movie. Even the gangsters are funnier than he is. So yeah, it just balances like all these different film styles and just does it well. It's a solid piece of film work in my opinion.
But this movie, the soundtrack kicks in, that first song. It's the sound of the police. Sound of the beast. Yeah, it was so good. They fucking come in with that song right off the start. You're like, oh. It gets you fucking right into it right off the start, man. And then when they go up to Ron's pot room there and they're like, get that snitch, bro, bro, bro. Then you see Nick Frost in the back. He's singing with them there. And then he's like, oh, and he goes back to his plant and it's like, it's good. I love the way they introduced, integrated the music into like the scenes as well and stuff. I thought it was great. It was a nice little touch. Yeah.
We were talking about we were talking about Brewis, and that's the first time we see him is when it cuts in. That's a KRS-9 or KRS-One song, I believe. And when it cuts into him, and like the music cuts in, and then you realize like it's what's playing on his headphones, and when he's walking up to the elevator, and then he looks behind him and sees some hoods and realizes like, whoop, whoop, that's the sound of being terrified. I thought that was really great. And Johnny, you mentioned something about it, about the social commentary of it, and I really think it played well because it didn't so much push anything or seem like it had its own agenda. But when they're up in the apartment with the girls, the one that has the security gate, and he tells them, first they sent the drugs and then they sent the guns, and now they're sending the aliens because those weren't killing us fast enough. And like, it's not far-fetched for somebody who grew up in something like that to think that this could all be a plot by the same government that's been holding that whole area down for years now. And I thought that was a really good, poignant moment in the film.
Does this movie take place on like their national holiday, like July 4th or something like that? Or does it happen on that night? Is it like a July 4th, but in England, I don't know what they call it? Or does it happen because they're talking about something happening that night and the cops are busy, and you see Mayhem and Props making a dumpster fire and they're loaded full of fireworks like there's some kind of party going on, like I don't think they just walk around.
The city was lighting them off all night too. That was the thing. Like when the aliens started landing, that's what they were first saying. Like maybe it's just falling fireworks, rockets that didn't go off. And they're like, yeah, but rockets go up and then come down. These are just coming down.
Yeah, that's why I was wondering if it was like their July 4th, like their national holiday or something that like this movie took place on that night. I don't know, because it explained why the kid had so many fireworks in his backpack.
Bangers.
I'm not too sure, but I didn't question it too much just because the film started off with fireworks and stuff. I'm not quite sure about their holidays. I actually wasn't sure you were able to just like get fireworks over there. I know that sounds weird, but like even here in the States, like there's a lot of places, not Florida, of course, just Florida's a lawless hellhole where you can just get fireworks on a random Tuesday. But for the most part, like fireworks here in Texas are regulated to just around July 4th and the Christmas holidays, and so I just always I can't buy fireworks year round. And in fact, like,
well, it depends on what Texas state you live in. Like, if you go to Nevada, if you go to Arkansas, there's a couple of them. You'll just be driving along and they'll be like gas station, fireworks, supermarket, like on the side of the road. But like, there's only a few states that have those. But yeah, when you see them, they are a crack up. But yeah, a lot of places that aren't in fear of like having big fires, like they do the 4th of July fireworks here too, but like they only sell them around then. But if you have them and you light them off like in New Year's or any other time of the year, I don't think you get in trouble, but like it depends on what you have too. You can't go lighting off super rockets or anything, but if you have like the whistlers and just like the sparkle shits, I don't think they're gonna get too mad at you.
See, here we can get them anytime.
Snakes and sparklers are the only kinds I like.
Yeah, snakes and sparklers are the good stuff. Kicking Wing said so, and it's true, man. Wait, there's a snail in the desert? This is boring. Let's go home.
I would never do that. I want to be a veterinarian. Now, let's not talk about Joe Dirt. We'll save that for another day. But no, I didn't question it too much because of like all the fireworks at the beginning. And I think it's like, I assume it's a holiday because, like you said, the police were busy as they usually are on holidays. But I just went with nondescript English holiday. Like, what are they really celebrating? Like, oh, we got a new shipment of vinegar in. Like, awesome. I'm not quite sure, but I wonder how easy it is to get fireworks there because they had some like high quality bangers. I mean, they were fucking up them aliens, which I thought was great. Which I think it played in with the aliens, like you said. The rockets go up; these are just coming down.
I don't know.
We'll have to ask some of our British friends.
I have seen that motif in the since the 80s, like Joey said, that people trying to use fireworks as weapons in horror and sci-fi films. I've never seen it work as effectively in this film. Like when the little South Park kid shoots the 2 rockets down the hallway and they hit the 2 aliens and pop them. But like the way they both fly by the camera, I mean, it just looks so good. And then when John Boyega's got the Roman candle and he's walking him down the hallway, making room, Like I thought that was all done really well. I'd never seen fireworks used that effectively in a film.
That final scene leading up there, where he shoots and he comes out of the weed room, the 2 fireworks go off and he's running, and the slow motion where he's running through the living room with all the freaking aliens there, and he's jumping, and then the slow motion, you see them like snap, kind of like fucking like alligators snapping at him as he's jumping over, and then they start chasing him down the hallway. That whole scene was amazing, and I love the way like they're just after him so hard. Like when he turns to go down the steps, one slides into the wall, the other one runs into the other one. Like they just want him, and that scene was done so well. The slow motion was done so effectively, and you get to see the movement of the way they run, and they're just nipping at his heels. I love that. That was such a great scene. Such a great scene.
That to me was one of the best like cinematic experiences I've got to enjoy. Like you said, when they shoot the rockets out the door and they start with the slow motion as he's jumping over the monsters that are snapping up on him. Yeah. I couldn't help but think about the ending of Space Jam. The ending of Space Jam. Where Jordan jumps and goes to do the thing and he's kicking off of all the Monstars' heads as he's going. Like it's that same kind of effect but less comedic, and the way that they did the whole scene was absolutely gorgeous. I went back and rewatched it as soon as the apartment explodes. I had to back it up to rewatch it because, like you said, there's so much going on, and the way that the action flows and everything moves. It's just perfect. I don't think I've seen a better scene done like that. Everything seemed like it had a purpose, and it just flowed so well. And when the fucking explosion happens and all you see is that body fly out, I was telling Johnny, dude, I was gripped onto the fucking table, just white knuckled, just oh.
And I love right before that scene, with all the aliens and the puppetry work, the way they're moving and just snapping, and all of a sudden, right as they start coming out of that kitchen window, and there's so many great scenes in the way they just made the aliens move and interact, and
I like when they're all outside the window and
the way that they took
everybody's trying to tell Hi-Hat behind you.
Hi-Hat, man.
And like they're all right out there, man, and they just all come in, and that was really effective. That was really well done, and just it was menacing. You know what I mean? They are kind of goofy looking aliens, but you look out there, you just see all this venom teeth, just all so cool, so cool.
Well, and then we did forget to mention probably my favorite scene is definitely the end, but one of the more fun ones to watch is when they're headed up to Tia's and they run into Probs and Mayhem, who Mayhem has his cousin's pistol and Probs has a water cannon,
super soaker,
and they take the pistol from him and it turns out to be a damn cap gun, but the super soaker, man, when he says, what are you going to do? Water them to death. There ain't water in here. And then when they have
look at each other and start laughing.
We did it proper good. Like, oh, bro. Yeah. when Big's in the dumpster and they set the fucking monster on fire. Oh man, that was.
I don't know if we should do this. Right? You want everyone to call you a pussy?
No one's ever going to call you Mayhem if you keep being such a pussy.
Such a pussy. Then they light that bitch up.
Oh, man.
I love those two characters. Pat loved those two characters. Those are her two of her favorite characters. Mayhem and Props.
Yeah, they steal the show, man. Like, those kids really do. They're hilarious every little shot they're in.
Yeah. Yeah, they were a good little addition.
They were a lot of the comedic relief for the film.
Yeah, they keep popping in every now and then.
I need a follow-up, but I don't care if it has anybody in it except for Probs and Mayhem.
Do a sequel with just them. Yeah, they tooken it over. They caught an alien on fire when they were 8? That's gangster, man. Like that kind of dwarfs anything Notorious B.I.G. ever did. Like, they're way more gangster than P. Diddy. I'll say that. Like,
another great scene was the Hi-Hat when he's easy kill when he's inside the block. He starts shooting the fucking thing, and he's like, he's like, oh shit! He starts running to the elevator, like, hurry up! Come on. The fucking thing gets in there with him, and all you hear are the gunshots. Then the conclusion to that scene after when what's his name? Bruce? Is that what you said his name was? Bruce.
Yeah.
That's the great
name,
scene where the elevator opens. Yeah. Yeah.
I think you should get the next one.
Scene after. Yeah, I think you should get the next one.
Oh man.
I mean, that scene was so funny. I didn't because I thought that Hi-Hats was kind of a bitch character until like that door opens and he's just all bloody, just like all fucking covered in alien guts and his buddy's guts. And he's just like, get the next one.
Then you see he's actually pretty hard.
I wasn't expecting it, man. Like when that alien got into the elevator, I literally turned to Dakota and I was like, they are fucked. And then you see him standing there just covered in blood. And like, maybe there's one British gangster that might be able to take me. I don't know. We were talking about this before the show. Like I hear the accents and I know there's some hardcore British people out there, but like, oh man, you know, I just go get your wickets. Don't come and talk to me like that.
Oh man,
you'll be late for tea, son.
You are the American version. You're the American version of that Brutus character, man. And when I was watching this movie, I was just like, look, it's British Goose. So like, yeah, I can see you getting punked on by these kids, man. Don't act hard, Goose. I can see them just be like,
you're right.
Give him a fist, but laugh at you, and you be all like, hit your joint all sad, like Dewey did. All right, then, bro. I see how it is. Like, but he ended up helping them out. Like they wouldn't have figured the big ending out if it wasn't for him knowing about moths and weird shit. So, like his weird goofiness
getting
came
stoned
in handy.
And watching National Geographic.
Yeah. Who doesn't
from
do
getting
that?
stoned and watching National Geographic? Oh, dude,
Nat
you
Geo,
watch National Geographic not high? It's fucking boring as shit.
But that's how they explain why all the aliens are after Moses. That was a pretty good scene, like you said, where it's pheromones and it's all over him. That's why they're after him. They can track him down because he smells of the female alien that they killed, and so that scene's pretty cool.
My only question for that is how apparent the stains were in the light then. Would they not have been just as apparent hours earlier when he carried the monster up there? Like they wouldn't have noticed it then. That was my, like, I don't nitpick or anything, but like I wondered like why they didn't notice it before.
It only showed once he got in because there wasn't a dark light in the front of the room, only in the back, I think. I'm not sure.
But yeah, it was when they were in the back hiding.
That was one thing that I did notice.
Like, your jacket's gonna all rave, bruv.
Yeah.
I love the slang, man. Like Goose said, man, they got some cool terms. Like I like allow it for just like, yeah, do it. You know what I mean? That's a good term for let's get it done. Just allow it.
They didn't say it in the film, but one of the things that I heard these British kids say when I was over there, when I was in Stratford, was they met this girl and they're like, oh ma'am, you're proper fit. And I was like, proper fit? He's like, yeah, banging, sexy. And I was like, oh, okay, I like that.
Proper
like
fit is
I had to look up what bear meant.
Yeah, proper fit means pretty much fine as hell in British.
And speaking of that, Jodie Whittaker, she's got a few good scenes in there too, where Moses goes to kill the alien and his sword gets stuck in the wall, and then it's right in his face, and all of a sudden, what? Right up, you see the knife come through the top of its head. That was a great scene where she saves his ass.
I like when she gets mad at Moses and what's the other kid's name? And she grabs the pillow and she starts squishing Pest's leg. He's like, oh, don't take it out on me, love. Yeah, she had some pretty good scenes with the kids, man.
Yeah, she was good. She was solid, man.
Well, I did not realize until, they get back up with her that she was going to play such an integral role. Like, he says, oh, she's a nurse. Why do you always rob the poor people? And that just comes back when it's them needing her help because Pest's legs all fucked up. And they're like, you're a nurse, you do it, She's like, grab me the pillow. And Moses is just like, ends up grabbing the pillow anyways. But that whole, you cuss too much.
You
Yeah.
got a
That's
pop
such a great
mouth.
scene.
Yeah.
As bad as those kids are, they're like, yeah, you cussed it. Yeah, you got a potty mouth.
Yeah, there's some good scenes for sure with her.
And then them blaming her for not just giving over the shit quicker and like pushing her down. And he's like, well, the knife was supposed to make it quicker. And then Tia's like, you pulled a knife on her, and like, why is it always, let's rob somebody, let's fight somebody. Like, that's where you really see like her, Guy Fawkes night, whatever the fuck that is. Hell yeah.
Guy Fawkes. Okay.
Yeah.
But no, like,
he knows what he's talking about. He's read
I guess it was the
Vendetta.
5th of
I forced
November.
him to. So yeah, it was. Remember.
The 5th of November, but the gunpowder treason plot. Anyway, no, the whole, like, her integration of being a nurse and how that really followed through, I thought was such a great role. I really didn't think that the whole nurse thing would come back into play, and then they meet back up with her, and she's having to bandage up the leg of the kid who robbed her just hours fucking earlier. I thought that was a great little piece of irony.
Well, the neat thing is I like the way that they learn to understand each other. That, like, dude, these people live with us too, so we can't just think of all of them as the enemy. And she realized that, like, dude, these kids, like, I may live with around them and think I have it in the same plight, but they have it way worse than I could ever dream of. And I like just the kind of weird convergence of understanding one another that her and Moses and the other kids had. I thought that was done very well in the film.
All right, I've got it right here.
I thought the same thing. But
Guy Fawkes Night is annually held on November 5th. It is sometimes known as Bonfire Night and marks the anniversary of the discovery of a plot organized by Catholic conspirators to blow up the House of Parliament in London in 1605. Yeah. So that's why there's fireworks and bonfires, and there you go.
All right.
We can be educational.
Yeah, right. Learning with Pink Buzz. It's gonna be our new little bite section.
At least throw one educational piece of information
slang.
in there.
And now you know
British slang, British holidays.
And knowing is half the battle. G.I. Joe! Yeah, man. We hooking up the knowledge.
I love it. No, and I just think, like you said, the way that towards the end of the movie, like, she synthesizes like into the group, and it's really great, especially when you see her be badass and stab that alien right through the fucking chin. Wasn't expecting it. Didn't think she had it in her. And when she joins, like some of the other characters,
when she joins the group and Moses is like, get a weapon, then she runs back in to get her knife.
I thought she was going to grab the guitar again.
Yeah, I thought so too.
I thought she was going to go all El Kabong on the alien.
Jeff Jarrett on him.
Yeah, I thought she comes out with the kitchen knife, so I thought that was definitely a smarter choice than the fucking guitar.
Well, God, she's so funny, unintentionally. Just some of the lines that she says, like, she's freaking out the whole time, and like the kids are just taking this shit like aliens just landed, let's fucking kill them, and not even questioning it. I think I loved her character so much.
Yeah, well, once she caught on quick. I mean, yeah, well, she thought they were dogs at first, but whatever. I love that whole thing. You want to go out in the hallway and give it some kibble, then? You ever see dogs like that before? Like, yeah. What kind of dogs are you walking, girl?
Must be them African dogs.
But that's the scene where it kind of brings everything together. Where they go into her apartment, you know, like the kid's like, there's bigger things than just you and us, and you know, it's survival, there's aliens, and then it's kind of brings it all down together, and you know, when it comes down to it, they all work together as
we
a
saved
team.
your life.
Yeah, my fucking
After you
heroes.
robbed
Yeah.
me.
Yeah,
Well,
my fucking
Yeah.
heroes. Yeah,
Such a sassy. So
Yeah,
sassy.
she
I
doesn't
love
take-
it. Well, that
she
and then
doesn't take shit, man. She doesn't take shit from no one.
well, and I think we haven't touched on the ending of the film itself. We've kind of touched all around it, but we hadn't made it past the apartment exploding. And then what really blew my mind is that Moses is hanging there from that flag. And, I just never thought the Union Jack would save somebody. And there he is hanging from it, and he's got that climb back in, and then he gets arrested. They bring in the SWAT teams and stuff. But I think that when they load him into the van and you hear the crowd like shouting his name, and then it just ends. I thought that was a proper good ending. When they didn't need to elaborate anymore. Like, we know Moses is the hero. Everybody knows he's the hero now, and he's gonna get back and he's gonna run that fucking block. Or maybe he'll change. We don't know. We don't care. He kicked the aliens' asses. That's what matters the most.
And there's a little detail from him climbing after the explosion that I love they threw in there. He's missing one shoe. Like, the explosion was so big that one of his shoes flew off, and he had one sneaker and one sock footed. And I love this. Such a little minor detail, but it adds to like just how much that explosion just tossed him, right? It tossed him so hard his freaking shoe flew off, and yeah, it's a nice little detail that they threw in
That's
there.
what got me was because you see his body come out the window almost like a fucking rag doll. Like, he's cartwheeling through the air, and I was just like, no, because the other deaths, like I said, they held weight. But when I thought Moses had sacrificed himself and had died, like, I got sad. I was just like, oh, is that it? Is that he's not gonna get his comeuppance? Like, what the fuck? And so, like I said, I thought the ending is so. And when they're pulling him out of the building and everybody's acting a fucking ass, except for Moses, who's just like taking the shit. Like, he's had such a long fucking night and he's just fucking done. And you see his exasperation and how tired he is when they finally load him into that police van, and then just the look on his face when his boy tells him, "You hear that? Yeah, that's for you." Like, it's just such a nice ending.
The bully van. The bully van. I love that term, man. I don't know what the hell it means, but that's what they call police wagons over there. The bully van, bro.
And I think another thing that we didn't mention was how kick-ass some of these chase scenes were when they're on the bikes, when they're on the little moped, especially that little tiny little fucking crotch rocket
Motorbike?
that old boy hopped on. Yeah, the little motorbike, man. And I thought that those scenes were so great, so well shot and well paced. And exciting. The whole movie was just really exciting.
I like the parkour jump. The one kid was always like, "I could make that jump," and everyone was always making fun of him. And then he actually does land it, but the alien is right there on his ass too, so he can't even be like, "Look, I'm cool." Like, he's got to run and hide in a dumpster. But yeah, I thought that was little neat things like that with all the characters. Like, they all kind of really had cool moments, which you don't really get with side characters in sci-fi horror films too often.
And what's great about the chase scenes that you said, one small touch I liked is all of a sudden they're not like professional stuntmen. They're going down steps and fucking crashing, getting back on and riding away. They're not pulling these crazy ass amazing moves on their scooters and stuff. They're actually going out of control as fast as they can and crashing and getting back up and going. And I thought that was a great touch. Not all of a sudden they're professional freaking motocross, stuntmen, and that was pretty cool. They take a few spills here and there, and but
like you guys said,
almost
like
get clotheslined.
The one at the end is probably the most iconic. But I like the one, the cloudy one down the hallway when they're trying
all
to
walking.
When they're trying to get up to Nick Frost's apartment, and John Boyega's got the rum and candle, and it's just all foggy, and the one boy gets eaten. Like, yeah, dude.
Yeah.
That one is really, really atmospheric, really creepy, really well done. Really portrayed the confusion of the scene. And then like the British goose gets whacked in the head in a baseball bat by accident. Yeah. What'd you do that for?
Yeah, it's good with the cloudiness, and all you could hear are the screams of the aliens, like in the distance and stuff. Yeah, it was well done. Yeah.
But yeah, the end one though, in slow mo with Boyega, he's got the katana, he's got the rocket in his mouth and the alien on his back, and he's just cutting a chogi, man. And those aliens are right behind him. I love that scene so much. I made it the thumbnail for this video because it's just so atmospheric and beautiful shot.
And what's so great is did they use a single slow mo shot throughout the whole movie till the end? Right, that was the only time, right?
I can remember. Yeah, I don't remember them doing
so they
anything
saved
else.
it just specifically for that one scene. They didn't use any slow motion anywhere else, which adds to like the importance and the grandeur of that one shot, because they do it in slow motion. Like, this is the moment where, you know, he becomes that hero, the man that like he wants to be to impress that girl. Like, this is his time. This is his moment of growth.
Oh, they got badass too.
And he grabs it. Yeah.
I love when the girls kill that one alien in their apartment, and she's got that skate. Yeah, dude, going all Happy Gilmore style, man.
Oh, the other one smashes the light to give it shocks and stuff. Yeah, that was pretty good. That was
the little girls get all hardcore too, man. Get a pretty brutal kill in there.
Yeah. And that's one of the scenes, because Pat didn't like the teeth that much. She thought it was a little cheesy, but when they kill that one alien and when it dies, then the teeth the glow goes, and then she was like, "Oh yeah, that was pretty cool." And she's like, "Yeah, the teeth are kind of cool then."
Well, see, I saw the badassness of the girls coming because of some shadowing that we got running up the stairs when she said something about the girls, and he says, "You've never seen these girls fight." Like, like they know that those girls are badass, and then you get to see it. They take them out with a fucking lamp and a goddamn ice skate. That's some cold-blooded shit, man. Like, I guess when you live in a place that doesn't have guns, you get real badass and technical with the goddamn snow skates. Oh god, the pacing and the like how this movie can build tensity. Is tensity the right word? And
tension.
The tenseness of the scenes, like the chase scenes, and even tension. Yeah, not tensity. I was thinking of intensity. The tension that they build is just phenomenal, especially like you said, when he's jumping over the monsters and everything. Like, the tension is there and it's strung so tight, and it just, you get little breaks in it, but for the most part, like, it is a very tense ride, which makes it just as enjoyable. Because I think when films or books or even music can elicit those type of strong feelings in you, I think you really kind of mastered your craft. The whole every character seemed very well fleshed out. There wasn't a weak one on the team. Like you were saying, Johnny, they all have their little moments where they get to do these little badass things. And I really like when he first fucking slashes that alien in her apartment with the sword. Like, I thought that was super kick-ass, talking about Moses. But yeah, it's such a great movie, man. I can't believe it's been out a decade, and this is the first time I've ever watched it.
The runtime of that movie is 1 hour and 28 minutes. So it's a perfect runtime. This is one of my pet peeves about movies nowadays, that for the last decade or maybe 5 years to a decade is Hollywood and the entertainment industry has lost the art of editing. They don't take anything out of these fucking movies or shows anymore, and they're long, they drag on. Like, another perfect movie that I thought had a perfect runtime was The New Mutants. Was about that, 1 hour and a half, and that movie felt like it left me wanting more, not wanting to turn it off before it was done. Like, when I'm watching a movie and I start grabbing my phone and twittering, it's because, dude, man, the pacing sucks. You didn't edit shit out. Like, get to the point. Take the shit out that slows the movie down, that doesn't really bring anything to the table. And I mean, these fucking 3-hour movies and shit like that, I'm getting fed up and I'm done with them.
Yeah, and that's a good point, because the few parts where the film does slow down and they're hiding, you get really good character moments, or they're actually really funny. Like the scene where they're in the girl's apartment and you get a lot of kind of an exposition dump on why these kids are the way they are, and it's not done sappy, it's not done preachy, but they kind of tell these like little one-liner stories about each other, and it's very well done, and it doesn't feel like the movie's slowed down at all. And then the same thing with later when they're in the weed room and the whole they find out that the goofy guy is actually really smart, and they're gonna respect him now and stuff. It was it just, like you said, man, they didn't dwell on having to do these long exposition dumps. They did them really clever in really fast ways that didn't drag the film down. But it was parts where the film did slow a bit, but it never gets draggy ass ever.
No, exactly. Like, they were necessary.
Yeah.
Right. That, like you said, to put exposition and to give these characters a little bit of depth, so you care for them a little more. It wasn't just all out action, nonstop action. But yeah, it was a good paced movie, and I loved it. Like, from start to finish. Like Pat too, she's getting sick of these movies that just last too long. She's like, "Oh man, it's already done." She was like, "Man, that moved along." She's like, it never slowed down, and she noticed it too. The pacing was really good, like Goose said.
Joe, I'm taking it you're not a big fan of The Irishman.
I haven't watched it.
Was that
yet.
like a 4-hour long film?
That's the one that's on Netflix.
I'm kind of the same way, man. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I'm kind of the same way in the sense that, like, man, I really don't want to sit down. There's very few movies that I'll sit down 3.5, 4 fucking hours for. A lot of the time, I do also get fed up where you're sitting there and it's just, you just gotta look away. And I think, like you said, the runtime for this, there's not many chances with that sort of, I say short, like it's not that used to be average length of a movie, but in a movie with the hour and 30 minutes, you really don't have time to kind of fuck around with the pacing and stuff like that. You need it to keep going, to keep people in. And I think it was perfectly done in the sense that, like you said, there's not a scene that felt out of place. There's not any part of it that drug on. Everything felt like it had a purpose, and that's, in my opinion, how you can make a great fucking film. And they did. This one was absolutely perfect.
Even the beginning, it started off fast. You know what I mean? You started off with the mugging, and then the alien lands, the first one. And I mean, but you don't feel like
10 minutes.
But it doesn't feel rushed either. You know what I mean?
No.
It just got to business. You know what I mean? Really fast.
And this is common in like other forms of media, like video games now. Now video games have to last like a fucking 100 hours for people to consider it. A AAA game doesn't last 100 hours. It's garbage. Like, they base it on how long it lasts. It doesn't, like, I hardly play any more AAA games because they're too fucking long. I don't have that much time to invest. I can't spend 40 hours playing a fucking game, just to try to finish it. Like, I mean, come on. I like it. I'd rather have quality over quantity, man. Like, give me substance. This filler, this bloated shit, like, I don't need any of it.
Well, I mean, you brought up video games. I think that's perfect, because you look at a lot of these AAA titles that are, like you said, you got to put 100 hours in just to complete the main storyline. And then you've got games like, I don't know if y'all played the new Resident Evil 7, but you can beat that game in like 9 hours, like pushing through it. And it was very well done. But I think with most things, like, people are wanting more and more. But the problem is you don't have to have a 3-4 hour runtime to get more and more. You just have to pack that content into, a standard 90-minute film. And I think what a lot of it is that people aren't, it's not even so much the pacing, but people are wanting more, and they think they're getting more with a 2.5 hour movie. But it's just like when we used to watch, we used to watch Dragon Ball Z. When I used to watch Dragon Ball Z, they redid Dragon Ball Z into what they call Dragon Ball not Super, but Dragon Ball Z Kai, where they cut out, like, it went from 52 episodes in the first season to 26 without any filler. And I think that a lot of these films now put in a lot of filler to make people think they're getting more. But you notice it when you watch a movie like this, for sure, because or even New Mutants, where it's half the runtime of some of these big, blockbusters that are coming out, but twice as fucking enjoyable. And so I really think that they packed the right amount of content and the right runtime with this, because, like you said, nobody has time to sit down and watch a 3-hour long film. And so this is a perfect sit and view, not get bored, not play on your phone. It is just that good.
But
Yeah,
I
and
think
it's a good experience too. I mean, it's a great film, and yeah, it doesn't fuck around. It gets right to business, and it's
And
just stays a blast.
I think budget has a lot to do with it too, because they don't have the budget where they could just waste time and film, and I think that's a reflection of like how you look at big two comics and indie comics. You know, indie guys don't have the budget of, let's say, DC and Marvel. So they got to make sure they get their story done in 4 or 5 issues and make sure it's concise. The pacing's good. They can't drag it over 12 because they just don't have the money to be able to do that. And I think you get better stories that way. Like you say, you trim the fat. It's not a bloated mess. It gets to the point. The pacing's good. They only put in the key plot points that are necessary to progress the story.
Well,
right?
UK,
and it just makes for a more agreeable read.
It wasn't.
In the UK, I think that they still your average budget of a film is around $20 million. They don't do the whole $350 million big blockbusters over there. They just I don't think the country can afford it. So yeah, you get these really kind of short, smart films out of them when they do make something that's effects heavy and action packed.
But I mean, like you say, as long as you're smart
all killer,
about it,
no
you can
filler,
still
baby.
you can still make the effects incredibly effective. Like in this movie, like I thought the effects weren't overdone; they were done just right, and it was effective. And it was a low budget movie, but really well done. Like playing to your strengths instead of like blowing your budget on. Let's say you have but you put in these CG scenes that are just poorly done because you don't have the budget for it. Like, just stay away from that shit and work within, the constraints that you're given. Like, I don't know, people try to force stuff when they shouldn't. Effects wise or plot wise, or work within your limitations.
Which I think these guys did masterfully, because like it's one location. The way that the aliens arrive on Earth, very smartly done for cheap. They basically are encased in meteors that then crack open almost like eggs, and they just kind of float on solar winds. And I thought that was a really neat way to introduce it. That way they didn't have to, try to film some big UFO landing or crashing or something.
And I love the way they introduce it with a title, where it's just coming down in a solar flare. Then the title comes in. It was so well done with the score of that. Such a great title scene.
Well, you were talking about budgets and how the average film over there has got a smaller budget than over here, and I think that really played well, because I didn't need some big CGI scary looking fucking alien, knowing that we can have something simple where it's just a black mass with blue teeth. I feel like that was so much more effective, especially now, because you get one of the first times I watched the Avengers in like 4K, the CGI at the end of the movie where all the monsters are coming in looked really, really fake. And I know it's CGI and it is fake, but like with the amount of money that they poured into that, you'd want it to look a little bit more realistic and high definition. But I watched this movie in the same quality, and the monsters were just so real. And I don't want to use the word vibrant because of the darkness of them, but vibrant is the perfect way to explain like how effective the monsters were.
They were vibrant in their darkness.
With the contrast of the teeth, with the fur, the black, that made it vibrant. Like the contrast of the two, like it was great. Like such a great design, probably one of the best.
And it was such a simple
monster designs,
like
of all time. It'd be top 10 best designs for an alien creature, for sure. Like the only one I could think I love way more is maybe is maybe what Geiger's Aliens, maybe Predator, and then I think maybe these guys come in third. Like, can you think of any better than? I don't know.
No, because almost everything else
the monsters from the Feast series.
Yeah, the Feast monsters, but they're very taken from Alien. Like I was gonna say, most things take homage and look exactly like the Xenos. Like that has influenced so much stuff. And like Goose just said, the feast monsters are cool, but if you look at them, they're very xenomorphic and Geiger-esque in design. So like these guys, they minimalized it. You could see a little bit of alien with the teeth, but then there's none of that detail. There's none of that biomechanical stuff coming down. It's just jet black. I mean, I don't even know if jet black's the right term. It's like they said, it's blacker than black, bro. I mean, and I would say vibrant is a good term for them, Goose, because like we pointed out, most of the times you see the aliens, they're already in darkness, and they're all. And somehow they were filmed to be blacker than the darkness that they're in, and you still see them. I don't know how they pulled that off, but it was so great. So there was a vibrance to them with the sheer darkness of them. Like it was very interestingly done. Like I said, one of the best designs ever, and really simple too. That's what I love about it. It just shows that minimalism can work. Like
extremely well.
Yeah,
I think did they make
Johnny,
a one-shot comic for this? Because I know there's some. I've seen some prints floating around. I don't know if there's a comic or some comic artist just made prints inspired by this movie, but I'd have to look into that.
I would think maybe 2000 AD did a strip for it. They do that every now and then for films, but I haven't seen like a comic for it.
Okay.
The color that you're looking for is known as Vantablack, and it was the paint that I was talking about earlier when they were mentioning it, but it was a pigment coating developed in 2014 by Surrey Nanosystems. The name is an acronym for vertically aligned nanotube array black. The company says Vantablack absorbs 99.965% of light, which makes it the blackest of all blacks at the time. And I really you really get that sense with the monsters, because like even like there's just this darkness to him, and I don't even think darkness covers what it is, but it's fucking gorgeous and beautiful, and I fucking love it so much. The simplicity of the monsters really added to it.
They need to do a Kickstarter where they do a blacklight comic for this.
Straight up,
man. Someone needs to do a Kickstarter and put out a blacklight comic for this, where you read it with a blacklight and all their teeth just glow as you're fucking reading it. That'd be sick.
Oh,
I'd go for that.
I'd buy that, and I'm not even buying comics right now.
Well, I mean, I was really impressed with the one blacklight comic I got. I got Jim Rugg's Octoberina, and man, is that thing just beautiful to look at.
You know, when you mentioned blacklight comics, that's the first thing that popped into my head. You sent me that, Johnny, and the three color palettes for it. You had retro, you had the blacklight, and then I can't remember what the other one was, but the retro and the blacklight colors in those books were.
He wasn't able to do a blacklight on PDF, so that's why he did the three different styles
the
for
retro?
People that got there's retro, there's neon, and then there's black and white, which all of them are gorgeous. All four versions of this book are great, but the physical blacklight one with the actual light on behind it, oh my, like it just. I mean, it looks like all the shit Rob Zombie wants to do in his films, but like so much better. Like it just glows. It's glorious.
I have yet to buy a blacklight comic, which is one of my goals before the end of the year.
Oh, you can get Octoberina. Go on the Ad House website. Snag that baby. Yeah, they have it for general sale.
Okay,
and it's worth it, man. Jim Rugg's a genius. It's a fun, goofy. Cold War era throwback comic. It's just badass. So
I almost bought. He had something going on a while back during the pandemic, and I almost ordered a bunch of stuff, but I'd already backed too many Kickstarters and spent too much on shipping, so I kind of backed out of buying some of that stuff. Yeah.
But yeah, man, that was Attack the Block, and if you can't tell, it's a film we all really love. And if you haven't seen it yet, we all highly recommend it. Goose already rated it, but I'm going to go ahead and give mine because I don't typically do this, but I think that this is a good enough film to actually rate, and I'm going to give it a good 9.5. It's a damn near perfect movie. I don't believe in 10 out of 10s, otherwise it would be that. But it's as close as I give anything to it. It's a 9.5. Joey, how would you rate it?
Maybe just a little less than you. Maybe an 8.5 on 10. I thought it was really good, and I highly recommend anyone go go rent this, stream it wherever you can get your hands on it. Just go watch it.
Goose, you want to reiterate your scoring? That's a blank piece of paper there, gangster.
It's too thin. We can't read it.
No, it says fucking perfect. I was looking for a Sharpie and I thought I had one near me, but I don't. Yeah, fucking perfect. I've been kind of lacking on watching films and TV shows here because I haven't found too much that's been interesting me, but this from start to finish was a perfect fucking film.
And I'd like to see Tom Cornish make something else. Like I looked him up and
you know what I'm saying?
He doesn't seem to have too much on his IMDb, but like I would like to see him do something else because he is a really solid filmmaker just off of this one movie.
Yeah, I haven't watched The Kid Who Would Be King, but it got decent reviews from what I understood when it dropped. Because I think that released just before the pandemic, or right as the pandemic was hitting. So I don't know if that affected that film's performance or whatever, but the critiques were good for it.
Nice. And like Joey said, he also wrote...
Holy shit, guys. Holy shit. I was Googling up the Joe Cornish stuff. We're getting as of May 17th, 2021, the aliens are back on the block a decade after Attack the Block. They're filming Attack the Block 2. John Boyega's coming back.
Oh shit. That's
nice.
Some fucking good news, man. Damn.
Yeah, John Boyega's Film 4 Complete Fiction Pictures and Upper Room Productions are moving forward with Attack the Block 2 with Boyega locked to return as Moses. In the original, Moses mobilizes mates against a group of nasty extraterrestrials looking to take over the neighborhood. John Cornish is writing and directing the sequel, and he will produce with Boyega, Nira Park, and James Wilson. Oh, shit. Edgar Wright is going to be working with him as well. And the the plot of the sequel remains under wraps, but we can guarantee, I say guarantee, there's no guarantees in this shit, but if it is anything similar to the first film, holy fuck, I'm stoked.
I really hope they deliver. I mean, like, they took their time, so I'm thinking that they actually
on Pink Buzz,
something
baby.
good. Hoping because they took so long, it'll be good. You know what I mean? Like.
Some good
Am
news.
I lagging again?
I don't know.
Take us out,
Are you?
Johnny.
Okay. Well, like I said, that was Attack the Block. It's so good. It's very good, fam. Allow it. Watch it. Trust, belief. And pick up some slang words. Watch just an incredibly just wonderful picture. You know what I mean? If you haven't yet, or if you have seen it and haven't seen it in a while, put it in and watch it again because it's just as good every time you'll put it on. But yeah. Until next time. This is a Buzz Bites, a product of Pink Buzz, brought to you by Graphic Vandalism, and that means don't stop reading. Don't stop watching awesome films, and don't stop listening to excellent music. And then Friday, we're going to be doing our funny books. We're doing funny books on the Pink Buzz. We are going to be talking about Exo Sisters, Cowboy Ninja Viking, Shirtless Bear Fighter, and Count Crowley. So we have a nice array of really kind of funny comics that we're gonna just kind of keep this comedy week going on the Buzz. So check that out. How are you guys feeling about Friday's episode?
You know me, I love entertaining, fun books, man. So far I've enjoyed it, man. I think I've read the Shirtless one, and I got to say, I fucking enjoyed that book. It was pretty funny.
Goose?
Oh,
I think he froze.
Is he frozen, or is he pretending to be frozen?
I don't know. He kind of just looks like sad Jesus right now in the picture. So
I think he's frozen for real.
He's frozen in a block of ice in Texas. Until Friday, man. You guys stay classy. Take it easy.
Can you hear me?